Hi, this is Ann Rossley with Baird and Warner. Today we are going to talk about pre-approvals, which are a critical part of the home buying process. With me today is Diane Peischos from A&N Mortgage. Diane and I have been fortunate, blessed, thrilled to be able to work together for over the 25 years. Has it been 25 years? I think so. Anyway, Diane, welcome. I am really excited for you to share your breadth of knowledge with us. And so let's just get right to it. Why are pre-approvals so important?
Well, Anne, first of all, hello, and thank you for the opportunity to do this with you. This is really fun, and I'm happy that we can get this information out. It's probably the single most important thing that a buyer can do. It really sets the stage for the whole transaction. It's the first step that they have to take when they're thinking about buying a home, and it's just common practice now. In the real estate industry, everybody expects to see a pre-approval. It can let the seller and the seller's agents know that you have the borrowing power to get this deal done. It can help secure the best deal during negotiations. You might be more competitive. It tells real estate agents that you are serious about purchasing. And it allows you to establish a lender relationship. It's not just all about what's the rate and what are the terms and let's go.
Right.
We really have to establish that relationship. It's very important, particularly in this mortgage environment right now.
So should the buyer contact the lender first, or should they contact their agent first? What do you recommend?
It really doesn't matter because either way, they're going to wind up at the right place. Now, because of what we just talked about, if, for example, a client called you first, the first thing you would say to them is, great, this is really exciting, and I'd like for you to go out and get a pre-approval, please. And if they don't have a lender in mind, that's something that you might be able to help them with. You might be able to give them at least 2 or 3 referrals and get them started on that process. And then everything can actually happen simultaneously. You can start maybe looking to see what's out there and feeding them information at the same time that they're talking to me.
Terrific. How does your pre-approval address their purchase price or borrowing power?
Well, there's so many elements, Anne, that go into the purchase price. It's not just about what they have in mind in terms of a neighborhood, of what the purchase price is that are going in that neighborhood. We have to look at so many things. We have to look at the projected housing payments. We look at other debts that they have, such as installment loans, student loans, auto loans, credit card balances. We look at the available funds that they need for the down payment and the closing costs. Oftentimes borrowers kind of forget about the important issues such as closing costs. We look at the interest rates and the loan programs. Those all have a bearing on everything that we are looking at. We look at their stable income and their employment history, and we look at their credit scores. All of those things have to get stirred up into a bucket so that we can tell them ultimately what their purchase price would be.
And so how are projected home costs determined?
Right. The first thing that I do is I ask my borrower, what is their comfort level? What do they feel comfortable in spending?
Like how much do you want to spend per month total?
Per month, right. Like let's say they're used to spending $2,000 a month on rent, but they've been saving $1,000 a month towards their down payment. And so that means that they're probably really comfortable with spending $3,000, maybe more. Maybe one of them just got a raise. Maybe they get a bonus every year that they can rely on. I mean, there are a bunch of different factors that go into it. But that's the first starting point, because normally I can actually get them approved probably for more than what they're comfortable in spending. So I want to make sure that this is working for them. It has to take into account, there's a whole bunch of costs that go into the housing payment. It's not just the mortgage. It's the mortgage principal and interest for sure. It's the homeowner's insurance that they have to pay, even in a condo. They have to pay for their own internal insurance of their unit. They have to pay for the real estate taxes, the condominium HOA fees in the case of a condominium. And if it's less than 20% down, the private mortgage insurance. And all those things need to get added up. And I present it to them in the form of a spreadsheet so they can see how this is going to work for them.
So this is a little off topic, but if somebody's looking at a condominium to purchase, you want to take like a subject property with an example of taxes, an example of homeowners assessments to kind of give them a sense, right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It is a chicken and egg situation. When we were talking earlier, the first thing they do is call for a pre-approval. But in truth, they have to have some idea of what kind of condominium they're going to be buying, because if they're buying in a 40-story building that has a doorman and all kinds of amenities, that's going to be very, very different than a 3-story walk-up,
Right.
3 or 6 units in terms of the assessment. So they have to know approximately what kind of condo project they're going for, so that I can then take into account and estimate what I think their condo assessments are going to be. And regarding the real estate taxes, I use a factor. That works pretty well right now. I use 1.7% of the purchase price.
Okay. That sounds good. Well, are there any particular obstacles that come up during this pre-approval process?
Yeah, there are things that even the most buttoned up borrower will maybe either have overlooked something, or something came up as a surprise. And that's why the pre-approval is so important. And I can't stress enough that borrowers should try to get a pre-approval long before they decide to look for a house, not the day that they're submitting an offer, because something might come up. Sometimes debts may be a little bit too high for the type of house that they want to afford. Maybe the other debts like car loans or student loans and so forth are taking up a big chunk of their monthly expense. And so we need to take a look at that and need to see if we can make some adjustments on some things. Maybe they need to maybe reduce a little bit, maybe their sites on their purchase price, or maybe they're going to be paying off one of the debts with a new bonus that they just received. There's a lot of jockeying that goes on with this. Sometimes we have to look at funds available for the down payment. Sometimes they may be a little bit shy on those funds. They want to stretch on the purchase, which can be a good idea. Sometimes they can access a 401k loan, for example, or there may be somebody in the family who can make them, who can actually gift them some funds for the down payment. We also have very low down payment programs, which can oftentimes be helpful. And sometimes a credit report can be ordered and can show something that's a surprise. And there are many, many things that we can do with that. I actually have a really cool program that I can use now called a credit simulator that can simulate what if scenarios, so that I can put in, if they pay this debt down, or if they take care of paying something that popped up as a past due they didn't know about, what effect would it have on improving their credit scores? Because credit scores are all important because it dictates the rates. So those are just kind of some examples of what might come up.
So here's a question for you. You mentioned earlier that somebody who's buying a home should get in touch with you as they're starting the process. But given what you just said, doesn't it maybe even make sense that they give you a call 3-6 months before they start the process, just kind of to check their temperature about their borrowing capacity or what they should be thinking about?
Yeah, it's a really great idea. And but I also don't want to scare away any buyers that just decided last weekend that they're ready to buy, because those can work also. And so I think, yes, for people who are really thinking forward and who really are thinking now that they might want to buy in 6 months, it's never too early to do this, to start this process.
How long does this pre-approval process with you take, generally speaking?
Oh, it can be, depending on how fast they can send me 5 pieces of documents, it can be same day. I can turn it around same day.
Fantastic. So how would you tell a potential client, how do you differ from others and why they might want to work with you as opposed to other lenders that are out in the marketplace?
Right. Another great question. I do operate differently. I really consider myself to be a true consultant for these people. It's not a one size fits all. I'm not an order taker. I'm not just taking their information and asking them questions. I'm really listening to their situation, how it fits into their overall life planning, their entire financial planning. If they have children, what stage are they at with the children? Are the children going to college? Are they going to be needing a lot of cash at some point very soon? We look at their entire scenario, and I give them multiple spreadsheets of information that can be very helpful at analyzing every aspect of their purchase. And so I really consider myself to be a really big part of their team to get them through.
And you really are their lender for life, aren't you? You stay in touch with them. If it's time to refinance, you let them know.
Oh, my goodness. I hear from people, really, I wouldn't even want to admit how long ago that I probably worked with those people. Probably I have some people that come back well over 20 years. I have people that are now sending me their children that's really scary.
Yeah.
But I love that. It's a real sense of having that relationship and really knowing how I can truly help them in their situations.
Thank you so much for your time today, Diane. I think you've helped all of us understand the pre-approval process, why it's important for buyers today, and why they should be calling you and working with you to get their loans. So thank you everyone for watching. If you need information on how to get pre-approved, it's going to be in the comments below the video. And if you have any other questions about real estate, ask Ann. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Happy hunting.